On Saturday, June 17th, 1965, I rode down my street, Rainbow Road. It wasn't always called that, but they thought it might bring us some sort of peace, as if traveling just a little further into town didn't completely diminish that notion. The light from the sky burned my eyes. It wasn't the sun anymore, just a replicant with a giant LED light bulb in the center that was always too bright or not enough. They never found a good balance. It always flicked on at exactly 7 a.m. every day. Never before, never even a half second after. Perfectly on time, every single day. I rode through town slowly, biking past Dally's Dine and Drive Theater on Main Street, the dirty pink motel building with its neon red and blue sign and the pink flamingo on the roof, and a car wash infested with the filthy little robot freaks smashing cars for scrap metal. My heart pumped deafeningly in my ears. I rode as quietly and as quickly as my legs allowed me across the street to avoid any disturbances. The town was mostly empty that day. No cars along the street, no motorbikes or skateboards, nothing, and no one. I hid my bike in an alleyway just next to what used to be an arcade. I kicked an empty tomato soup can along the road, listening to its pop and screech with every strike. It'd been over 2 weeks since I'd seen anyone else besides my cousin Cameron, but even he's become a hard man to find, emotionally that is. Which really wasn't great for me, being alone. It made me write more and flip through my dad's old notebooks and photo albums. He was such a good writer. Before I was born, he wrote an entire manuscript, a new science fiction book about the future. Wasn't too far off from the truth, scarily enough. Burr brought me comfort, of all things. He was pretty scatterbrained, which made me feel a little better about my own intrusive thoughts. I guess I make it sound not so bad, but loneliness is a hard thing to combat. Especially then. I barely saw anyone besides a quick nod of acknowledgement on the streets, or a secret hello if we were close enough to one another, but far enough from prying. Ears? Do these alien robot freaks even have ears? Whatever they listened to, they were stealthy. We don't know much about them or what they are, but they came fast and in numbers. Dozens of people gone in the blink of an eye. No warning, no explanation, just gone. They come and go as they please, flying through space as a means of quick travel to and from each sector. At least that's what they called them. It's the planets. They're traveling to and from planets, but they don't call it that. Makes me go red. My blood boils whenever they say that. I don't know why. Sectors. That's why I tried to spend as much time away from the town as possible. Most of the trees have been dead since they came, with the lack of sun and all. The ground was all dust and rock then, but sometimes, if it was quiet enough, I'd like to lay outside on a blanket and stare up at the dead trunks, just imagining what they used to be, all plush and green and beautiful. I bet my parents would have built me a tree house if they hadn't been killed. A tall, square tree house for me and my friends to play in. I liked to take stacks and stacks of books out with me to read. I'd lay outside in the dirt until the sun got shut off for the day. After that, it was best to stay inside. I listened to our record player every night before bed, one of my secret treasures. The empty buildings in town used to depress me so much I couldn't stand to leave the house, but you get used to the desolate wasteland look. Kind of feels like being in one of those horror films you'd go see at Dally's Theater. I suppose we were living in our own horror picture, only the monsters mostly kept to themselves, reigning on their silent throne of terror. We knew they were there. We saw them from time to time in the far-off distance, and we turned and hid. The closest I'd come to them was on June 17th at the car wash. One of them turned around at the sound of me kicking the soup can. So stupid. I ran to hide in the Cherry Phone Red booth across the street, my breathing ragged. I had to cover my mouth as the sharp metallic sounds of what I presumed to be their feet clicked against the asphalt of the road. They spoke in low, electronic-sounding voices, but I couldn't make out any words. I guess they weren't in the searching mood that day. The phone booth was my place of sanctuary outside my house. It gave me a false sense of hope and security. My mom used to take me to the phone booth to call my dad during his lunch break at work, the best part of the day. I picked up the phone and dialed. This was one of the electricity days. Beep, beep. No answer. I didn't expect one. Wendy was one of those I hadn't seen in a few years. I don't know what happened to her, but I have my suspicions. I try not to think about what they might have done to her, or where they could have sent her. At this point, anywhere in the universe. Their ships travel fast and relentlessly. I like to leave her voicemails every few weeks or so, whenever I could get into town unnoticed. The sound of her voice and her answering machine brought a sad smile to my face every time.
Hiya, Wendy here. You probably just missed me. I'm a busy woman, you know. Leave me a message, but make it quick. Love ya. XOXO.
Hey Wendy, it's Val. Just wanted to let you know how much I miss you, and I wish I could talk to you in person just one more time. Kinda need some advice. That's how it was, I guess. Leaving messages for people is one of the other few joys I still get in this life. Makes me feel like I'm still part of something bigger than just surviving and avoiding. I should really go see Cameron. He keeps me grounded, even if he does drive me batty, and I like to think I do something similar for him. Maybe I'll go tomorrow, June 24th, 1965, if the streets aren't too crowded. I'll bring my portable cassette player with me, anything to drown out the echoing, screeching metal sounds from town. As strange as it may seem or be, new music still comes out from time to time on the handheld radios. The Beatles are my favorite right now. I have no idea how or where they're recording, but it's honestly pretty great stuff. The sight of another human, real flesh and blood, will be good for me. Plus, I can pick up the last of my parents' things. Maybe even find the original copy of my dad's novel. Signed edition, of course. I'm trying to keep my expectations on the down low. I really don't expect much in terms of conversation from Cam. Maybe half a hug at most, but I'll take what I can get. We have this sort of silent mutual understanding. We look out for one another as best we can and all that. We're family after all. Maybe enough time has passed, but I won't know until I see him, I guess. Well, that's all for now from Rainbow Road. Good night.